whose calendar, just have to look at who's on the show. And with that, we're really focused on women's empowerment because that's what Beverly's niche is, especially with women over 50. And since we're tying everything into live streaming, because live streaming is making all this possible for us and for you to connect like this, we decided to always have that as the, let's say, headline, with the feature being what we're talking about, which is women's empowerment. And then we drilled it one level beyond that to really get into how do you apply this is gateway to growth. So if you can visualize that, I think the picture becomes clearer. So Beverly was very responsible for the topic of gateway to growth. Before I introduce Beverly, we've got Kelly here. Kelly's here right on the button. Great to see you, Kelly. Great to have you working so closely with all of us to support what we're doing and to support what you're doing, which is today, Awesome Journey, 1:11 p.m. Mark your calendar with Christy Howard and Kelly, and so many interesting people, subjects. I mean, it gets you on the edge of your seat sometimes. So with that said, Beverly, what's your first thoughts on gateway to growth?
Okay, well, first thoughts as 10 come into my head, right? Okay. The first thought I have is, of course, I'm all about personal and professional growth. And people come to me and they say, I'm stuck, like, what do I do? So, really, what I do is not get them unstuck, just get them thinking in different directions because we all think the way we think. And so this is personally what I do. I've been doing it for over 30 years. They call me the reinvention expert. They call me all kinds of other things as well, Dawn. But the whole idea is personal growth, personal. Okay. It's about you. So if you want more in your business, what are you doing about it? It's not about taking a course. You could be a Harvard graduate. It doesn't really matter. What it is you can come home and feel like a failure. It doesn't matter about your achievements. It's about your growth. It's about your curiosity. It's about your humanity. Because at the end of the day, you have to deal with you. So let's go back to live streaming, which you can say has nothing to do with this topic that I'm talking about. But, okay, as women, it's a huge, I would say almost risk, if you will, to put yourself out there, particularly if you're an older woman. You have to believe that you are still relevant, that you are still capable, that you have something to offer, and that you have something to achieve. Because what happens in our lives is we start feeling less than. This happens to men too. But for women, it's like your appearance changes. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful may have left or maybe died. Who knows? The children are gone. Whatever it is those changes, those transitions that really give us a kick in the head. So, what you have to understand is honor yourself. And if you have something to give, if you have something to believe in, you do have something to say. And this is so incredible with live streaming. Okay, it sounds like a plug, like an infomercial, but I don't mean it. Okay, I don't mean it because I've been doing podcasting for years. And before the podcast, I've been on live radio, which is for years as a host, which is just a carryover to today. Let's face it. When you're on live radio, you're just a voice. But when you're on live streaming, whoa, you're a person. And that's just incredible because on Dawn's show, you don't only meet me and Dawn and all the other hosts, but you meet all these other people and you see us the way we are. There's no hiding here, okay? You can ask questions. You can get off the stream if you don't like it. But whatever it is, it's for real. If you're watching TV, it can be cut, it can be edited. It's not necessarily live. Now we have reality shows, but believe me, they're cut, they're edited, they're put together, they have a theme. We're raw, guys. We do not have a script here. We can fumble. My hair can be a mess. Whatever it is, you get the real deal. And you can ask questions and you can criticize and you can say whatever you feel. And when we're talking about personal growth, it's all about curiosity. What is your interest? How do you feel today? Okay. Do you feel you're good enough? What's going on? If you're an older woman, do you feel that you can relate? Do you feel that you matter? We're going to be talking about all that kind of stuff. And I really want to encourage everyone to pitch in, to ask, to share, because you're all part of us. And that's what live streaming is all about. Otherwise, we're talking to ourselves, two talking heads. And you know what? Boring. So, Dawn, passing it on to you.
Well, thank you, Beverly. And I was just very plugged into what you were saying. And I think learning is the key word.
Yeah.
I learn every day by doing what I'm doing. And then I learn more by who I'm doing it with and what they're sharing. And then I
Mhm.
learn even more through what the audience is participating. And everybody learning more continuously is definitely a gateway to growth. So we've got the gate, which we can call the gateway, but you still need the key and you need to walk through. You can't
Mhm.
expect the gate to come to you, open it up, pick you up, and push you through it. It's asking way too much of a gate. So when I look at what we're doing here, we're a reality laboratory,
I
right?
love that.
I just switched everything around from Hour of Empower to LinkedIn, uh, the LinkedIn show,
Mhm.
primarily because of what Harvey did with the franchise show.
Sure.
Right? Why not just go right to it and take over a category no one has yet to take over? And take over means open it up to others, not be it. Right? So what we do here is facilitate, moderate, encourage. But
Mhm.
this is between all of us over 1,000 shows we've done in less than 2 years. If you add up all the co-hosts, all everybody's individual shows, I think we're pretty proficient. I think we're pretty experienced. And now the outreach is come do what we're doing. Come do it with us and let us teach you how we have learned, what you could learn. And that's why I'm promoting even on the screen. Let's build your live stream, right? How many times you want to rent a car before you decide it's time to buy? So, anyways, with that said, getting back to the primary topic, which is really, gateway to growth, you know, the three words we just discussed gateway, which is the beginning. Two means you're going on a journey between one point and another. And growth is what you choose to grow with and to grow into.
Yeah.
So once you get clarity, and whatever you're doing, you should have a reason for doing it and an objective in doing it. But most people don't because they're just into the doing. They're not into the growing. They're not into the expanding, the extending, the giving up the old to reach out for the new. And I
Yeah.
think really what this creates, because of the vehicle live streaming, transformational opportunities that happen so much faster than sending a resume, knocking on a door, making an appointment. I have Zoom calls every day. And if they weren't a step to here, I wouldn't even have those, right? Because it's a lot of talk, it's a lot of wonderful people, but it doesn't get you to your goal. In a lot of cases, it takes you away because, hey, that's pretty cool. Let me learn more. And I think that's so important as a gateway to growth is being specific. It's a big world. There's a billion people on LinkedIn and probably so many more billions on YouTube and Facebook that this could stream to.
Mhm.
You know, if you got a message, how big of an arena would you like to be in? Right? A few people across the table at Starbucks, or a major outdoor arena where everybody is there for what you're about to say, and you're there about what people are going to be hearing. Before I swing it back to Beverly, though, we've got some guest audience
Mhm.
people here. We talked about Kelly. Can never talk too much about Kelly. She's such a
Kel-
go-getter and
Kelly.
positive influence on the people around her. Here is a new name, Ebony Jones. Well, welcome, Ebony. Nice of you to stop in and check us out. Hope you're getting some quality takeaways. Here's a LinkedIn user. I always guess it's Carrie. Uh, and here we have Dr. Nua. I haven't seen you in a while, but it's great to see you come back. You know, what it shows you is people still remember you, but life
Mhm.
gets in the way,
Exactly.
timing, situations, but it's always to have you back. Carl, can't say enough about Carl. I visited his show in the audience today. The funding show, because I have the successful funding show, which I'll do with Carl tomorrow.
That'd be great.
And we have Russ Hedge with us, who has multiple live streams and has really been pioneering this. So I'm starting to attract more live streamers too. Great to see you, Carl. Carl was talking about avatars today. And a person who's in mine and Beverly's and Kelly's and Harvey's and Con's and Dave's collaboration group. We're now 7 people who are doing live streaming can get together, and any little nuance, any little facet, any new rule we just discovered helps 7 people faster, and maybe in areas they would have never pursued, right? We all go into the gold mine with different tunnels, but we all come back together. Dr. Nua says, I hope I'm pronouncing it. Love it. Just be authentic and real. Embrace all the imperfections. You know, you are who you are. Be proud or change. You know, it's very simple. Dennis is here. Agree, you are pro efficient, so better than con efficient. Thanks again for sharing and carrying your experience. Here's Carrie. I knew it must have been. What's the foot's favorite date? Taco toast. Carrie, I don't know. You got to have something going
I
for you.
don't
Coming up with these zingers. So, Beverly, why
know.
don't you take it to the next level?
Okay. Well, I hope it's to the next level and not going down. What I want to talk about is accessibility. And that's what live streaming does. That's what even a podcast does. I shouldn't say even, because I love my podcast and I love reaching out to people. And there's so many ways to do it. But with live streaming, particularly the way Dawn's doing it, it's there's well, there's Dawn. He's a constant. Okay. So you're coming to see Dawn. And then we have specific days. So although this is women empowerment, it really should empower everybody. We're putting a particular slant on women. We're putting a particular slant on older women, which is really my field. Because what happens is as you get older, other stuff happens to us emotionally, physically, all kinds of different ways. And there are a lot of people that are retired or on their way to retirement, and they say, what's next for me? You know, we go past 100 today. We repair body parts. We're like a car right now. We're running on so much different machinery, trust me, okay, really, um, that we want to live our best lives. I don't know, I do. And so to take care of yourself, to take care of your health, and to take care of your mind, this is what's so exceptional. I've heard so many times, well, I'm too old to really do the technology. Are you kidding me? Both Dawn and myself, and so many people, Leslie Flowers, you name it, right? Uh, this isn't rocket science. If you know how to operate your phone, you know how to live stream, or if you know how to do a Zoom. Remember back in the day when people didn't Zoom? Well, now we know Zoom, click, you're in. You can be talking to goodness knows who. You can be recording. It's incredible. And you say, I don't know it. Well, you know what? I didn't know it either. And when I did live radio either, I'm not a DJ. Okay. I didn't know anything. But live radio is so much different. Why? Because you're on, but you have people in the record in the booth back there. And if anything goes wrong, they're there. There's a delay. Here, it's free fall. And that is what's great. That is what pushes you to the next level. We're talking about next level, right? If you don't feel that fear, that little bit of twinge of you're not going to get to the next level. So, in other words, if I don't put out a course, I could have it all in my head. But if I don't put out a course, right, that maybe it's going to fail. Maybe people won't come. If I don't deal with that, I'm just staying in my head. This is with everything we do. Growth is feeling that fear, wanting to know that we have to do it. We have to do it, but then do it. And the first time you do a live stream, like with anything, you click that button and there is fear. Okay. My live stream is on Thursday. What I do is I live stream the podcast. Let me tell you, the first time I did it, everything that can go wrong did go wrong. Okay. Including StreamYard, right? Where here I am ready to go, read everything, followed the YouTube, did absolutely everything. And then guess what? Everything crashed. Okay, live stream, right? Was anybody really there? I don't know. Okay, but I'm sorry if you were. Did I do it again? Yes, I did. Is it easy breezy today? Absolutely. This is with everything you do. How many times did you fall before you learned how to walk? It's the same kind of thing with live streaming, with podcasts, with talking to a camera, with now it's not just talking to your camera. That's really easy. With Zoom, you're talking to a camera, looking at yourself in the face. That's really tricky. Okay. It's like, no. But you get used to it. And it's the same thing as talking. And who would have imagined, if you're like me back in the day, that you would be calling a friend and seeing her on the phone, right? I would say, I would not want to be seen on the phone. I'm not up to that. Now we just click, hi, I'm in the kitchen having breakfast. How are you? Live streaming is about that. It's growth, it's change, it's get out there. And joining Dawn, you have a team to help you. We're all a bunch of crazies. It's fine. We fall on our face 1,000 times. Join the club. But every failure leads closer and closer to success. And that's the fun of this show. That's the fun of all you people joining us. I sound like an infomercial for, for live streaming, but seriously not. It's about expansion and it's about growth and it's helping people to help themselves. If you want to do something, there is a way. And you must feel that fear and say, I want to do it. How do I find a way? Who's going to help me? Should I find a mentor? Should I find a coach? Or should I just give a call? I know for anyone that reaches out to me, not a problem. I will talk to you. I talk to everybody. And believe me, that's free. I don't say, okay, now there's a charge for this. Okay, like a psychic or something by the minute. No, 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 no. What it is, yes, I can help you. If I can help you, fine. If not, I could refer you or give you some tips. Big deal, right? And Dawn is like that. And I know Kelly is like that. And every single person here, we're here to help. And so, just talking about live streaming, I just said it. Can I retract it? Would I retract it? Absolutely not. This is raw. And it's the truth.
Well, you make so many great points because you're talking from your own experience, right? And you're accepting that you're never going to be as bad as your first time, right? And you got to have your first time to get that bad out of the way so you get your next bad, let's say. But
Exactly.
practice does make perfect, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. The fears aren't realized by reality, but the reality does expand opportunities,
Yeah.
right? You come into something with your capabilities and now wanting to do something. When you find out you've got expanded capabilities that you never knew you had, all of a sudden you start changing the way you approach it.
Mhm.
And I always look at things in a visual way. And getting together with Beverly and Kelly and Harvey and individuals just like today with Dr. New, have I hadn't seen in 6 months, but I really appreciate. It's like sneaking off and having 8 or 9 people at a coffee shop that you sneak into for an hour and then
Yeah.
get back to whatever you were doing. You're a winner just for being with players and players who are here to win. If you're here you should play, but if you play, you should play to win. And part of this is LinkedIn. If you look at every comment, every person, they're a LinkedIn person, right? And the other half of it is LinkedIn strategy. How do we were talking the other day, me and Kelly and Harvey, and it's like, how do you promote? How do you support it after it's over? How do you network with the new people that just showed up? How do you make snippets if you can and use that for repurposing? You should know all this because you know what you're doing. You're investing your most valuable asset, which is time. And LinkedIn doesn't give you a manual when you get here. It doesn't tell you next steps and here's how you win. It doesn't even tell you when you got hurt. When you lose, they just yank you. So why not be safe? Why not be confident? Why not understand? Because that's where all the scammy, slimy, spammy things come from is people didn't take the time to learn protocol, didn't take the time to reach out to people in a sincere way, and they're playing the numbers game. And a lot of them, if you got enough energy and you don't care about hunting every day to eat, it will make sense. But if you're here as a good person first, because if you're not a person of service, if you're not a giver, if you don't have patience to allow things to come around when they're supposed to, then you have the issue. It's not LinkedIn, it's not live stream because there are huge winners. But all those winners, and I've watched them on YouTube and listened to them, most of them took a year and a half before they made dime one. And they were smart people coming in and they were hard workers, but they were figuring it out as they went. When they got smarter is when they got together with other people who had already figured it out and were actually doing it. And since we're here to build community, and community then extends to family, because your community is your present day relevant group that you depend on to help you get to the next level. And you're more than willing to give somebody a lift. And, people are talking about sponsorships. Actually, I'm sponsoring Carl, I'm sponsoring Beverly and Kelly every time I say, check out their show. And they say, check out this show. Well, that's how you build sponsorships, as you show you can help other people become successful, not because you're in a position where they want to associate with your brand or your 20, 30, 40 person audience, right? They want association and influence. So I think, when you look at this, there's a bigger picture if you allow yourself to see it. There's a better way of doing it than however you've accumulated whatever you have, right? I've got 37. Is that us?
No, no, no. Harvey just came in and I
Oh,
just said, hey, Harvey.
I didn't know. Uh, so let me get to Harvey then. Harvey, hello. Hello, my favorite people. Uh, Good to be here.
Yeah.
We're getting. Is, do you hear? Do you hear that?
You have it? I have it. I have. Hello, my favorite people. Good to be here. Wanted to pop by after my meeting and before my show. And I say thank you, Harvey, because we miss you. I saw your show yesterday with Kelly. And yeah, this is the thing, Dawn. We're all friends here, whether it's the audience, we support each other. And that is what community is about. And we all rise higher with community. And one of the things I wanted to say is don't be negative. When you're going to be expanding any personal growth that you have, whether it's I want more money, whether it's I want a better job, whether it's I want a better relationship with my kids, with my family, this is I want, right? It's not going to happen just because you want it. What it is what are you going to give? And so, Don, what you're really saying is if you want the exposure on LinkedIn, on any platform, what are you going to give to deserve it? How are you going to help other people
Hmm.
to make their lives better, which in turn will, of course, make your life better? I mean, I could never have met you, Dawn. I could never have met Kelly. I could never have met Harvey, anybody. And a lot of these people have been on my podcast, and we share and we do. And I've met such wonderful people through just this show. Now, I don't like even calling it networking. That's what it is, but it's not. It's talking, it's getting online, it's sharing the Zoom. And when you're talking about how do you connect with people, it just becomes easy because once you've watched people on a live stream or heard them in a podcast or Leslie Flowers does audio, you've heard them, you feel them. That's what I love about live radio back in the day. Now I don't listen, but back in the day, I loved live radio because that was intimate. And now you see the person too, not just hear the voice. And so, although the voice can be really wonderful if you take the person away, that's radio, that's audio, but really, really, you see what you get. And people come to me and they'll say, "Hey, Bev," and I say, "Hey," it's like almost like we're all friends already. And I think that that is the best way of communicating what you have, how you serve. And so if you have a book, if you are, and we do, Con has a book and he's getting it out there. And
Hmm.
we have everything, whether it's franchising or Kelly Show, or, it's stories. And my podcast as well is stories of older women who have been empowered without saying, buy the script, any of that sort of thing. I'm not schlocking anything or hawking it. What it is if it provides value to you, wonderful. And that's what live streaming, that's what podcasting is, that's what social media is about. It's not about what you have to get. And like Kelly, I'm also offended when I get spammed by all these people that you can do this or your podcast needs this or blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, I know, but if you hit me like that, I don't want you. you know?
Well, and I think what it shows is some people don't know any better,
Yeah.
but the people who do see better, who never knew better, can
Mhm.
appreciate the new better. I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of betters in that, but the key thing is I look at LinkedIn and live streaming like a university. And sometimes in your freshman year, you take certain classes with certain instructors, but then the next year, you go to Algebra 202 or the next level, and you keep leveling up. And you may have teachers that continue to support you through your 4 year or whatever degree program. But you also have like a square dance where you switch partners, you work with somebody long enough. It's almost, I look at it so many different ways, like having a duet,
Mhm.
right? And there's so many people that had duets with 50, 60 people, but they also had their career. They
Yes.
also reinvented themselves over time, and maybe through duets, they got into country or jazz or whatever form of music. And this is the same way you get a buffet. You get to choose how you set the table. Who's around the table? What are you going to discuss? You have so much control that you didn't. And when we look back at Gateway to Growth, Why have people been limited and continue to be limited? Why? Because of access. Because of asking somebody, can I borrow your microphone? Can I be on your show? Can someone book me? And you can cut right through that and say, give me the microphone, right? And all you gotta do is restream. Will give you a microphone, let you connect to 30 channels.
Mhm.
If you want the enterprise version, it's like $16 or $18 a month. If you ask yourself, what time are you spending not getting what you want? And it's not even acquiring something. Who are you hanging out with? What are they doing? Do you want to be part of that? Association is so relevant because I know when I had Bob Berg on the everybody, well, if it's good enough for Bob, it's good enough for me,
Mhm.
right? And if Beverly and Kelly and Harvey are singing the praises of this, and they've been doing this for at least a year and a half with me, you would expect them to continue to share what they believe is the most real thing you can do, the positive thing. Because we could just not even focus on other people. We could just continue to build and grow. But it's lonely at the top, is what people say. And the journey is more important than the destination, right? And the people you're with make your life what it is when you meet them and then when you meet people from them and with them. Like Beverly mentioned, whenever there's a good guest, everybody gets to know about them because we talk about them. If it's our every other Thursday group, well, Khan's a great guy. Well, I'm going to put Khan on my
Mhm.
show, or I'm going
Mhm.
to promote Khan because you got to give to get. And sometimes you got to give a lot for a long time to get. But if what you're giving is valuable to everybody you're giving it to, the compensation is right there in front of you. And eventually, out of guilt or gratitude, someone will want to do something to recognize you, to keep it going, right?
Mhm.
Comment on someone's post for a week and they never say thank you or appreciate it. You're on to the next post. So it's really, what are you willing to give? What can you give? How can you give it? And now that I'm talking to people every day who want to get a show or thinking about it, I always say, first thing, are you a good person? Are you somebody I want to introduce to everybody I've spent a long time developing relationships with? Because one bad apple spoiled a whole group. And that's where you have to be thoughtful. Where before it's like you'll take anybody who can fog a mirror. Now you have qualifications. And the second thing I look at, are you a busy person? If I look at someone's profile and they post every 2 months, they're not going to do any more for anybody else. And I can't, why go for someone who doesn't do something when you can find somebody who will do something and is doing something? And if they can't support themselves, they're not going to support you. And most people get blinded by the money. Well, whether they show up or not, I'm still going to get the money. Well, you just wasted a spot. You're going to have an end to a relationship before it started. And is that how you want to conduct business? Right? So to me, it's like try it before you buy it. And when you have something that is so valuable that so many people put so little value on, but for some reason everybody shows up to hear it, to see it, but they don't want to do it for whatever reason. And I think you got to really go back and restructure your reason for LinkedIn, your communication strategy. Some people say, well, my post went viral and I got 400,000 views. That's like nothing. It's like a drop in the ocean that no one, if you got 400,000 every day,
Yeah.
now you got something. And I think that's the other element, is build something sustainable, build something scalable, build something as a group and a community. Because if you're a one person show, you're only as good as you every minute of the day. I guarantee if I couldn't do this show by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do a one person show in front of an audience and do this for like 30, 40 minutes without a break without suggestions. And I think an earlier quality point Beverly made is the reason why we can be spontaneous here is because Leslie gives me 4 ideas to talk next. The audience creates 3 more ideas. Why would I want yesterday's sandwich today? Right? When you can have whatever's the sandwich of the day and have it fresh and you created it. So I think there's the other thing, gateway to growth, is you create your gate, right? And you decide when you want to walk through it, how, that's where visualization comes in. And if you can visualize it, you can make it happen. With that, let me go to Dennis. As we get older, we do get wiser, even if we can't remember. Well, you know, just being with people makes you younger, right? Being with busy people makes you more active. Okay, we talked about Harvey. Harvey's show follows this for everybody who loved this show. Move right into Harvey's and then move right into Kelly's. Christine, just a wonderful person, was here from the beginning. And you get to know people as like relatives. Some you see every day, some you see once a year, but it's nice to see them, nice to know they're alive, that they're
Mhm.
doing something, that things are well. And, at least everybody's in orbit at that point when people want to connect or for a reason. But I think Christine would be just excellent with a show
Mhm.
because she always has so much to say. Her comments are probably the longest, but most relevant at times.
Mhm.
And there's an audience for Christine because here's the other benefit we don't always talk about. The reason I believe so many people can be successful using this show as training wheels is they get a chance to meet, greet, and know the audience. And the audience gets a chance to know them over 2, 3 months. Then when they get their own show, the audience comes with them. And it's the audience that's the foundation and core. If it was just 30 raving people talking about yesterday's whatever, and it was a lot of, that's not going to be something you can build with because, you're taking something almost artificial, using it to, as foundation, knowing you're going to have to pull it away and replace it. When you can start with 2 or 3 people, that's the other thing. I go to every show that I see, right? So today I'll be at Kelly's show. Today I was already at Carl's show. I'll be at Harvey's show. And if 6, 7 of us show up, and even it's to say hello, because a lot of people say, well, I'm busy. I got an appointment. I don't have time. Well, you got 30 seconds, no matter who you're talking to say, hey, Carl, great guest today. Really cool subject, right? And you show up. When you show up, people say, well, Beverly's here. I don't know Carl as well as I know Beverly, but if she's spending her time here, maybe it's good time spent. So there's a lot of different collateral benefits you can derive if you understand it. And I've got programs that start $137 and go up based on whatever, then one can jump into it. So if money's not the issue, then it really comes down to desire and being authentic with yourself to say, add up your hours here. The funny thing is, everybody we're talking to is already part of LinkedIn. So we're not saying join LinkedIn. Everybody here is already doing something on LinkedIn, which puts you in the bottom 2% or the top 2% of people who are actually engaging. So why not take the step to be that person? And it really ties into gateway to growth because how many times do you have something to say and you got no one to say it to? Or the people you're saying it to, it doesn't matter anymore. They've heard it enough. And a lot of times they say a lot of people are walking up the right ladder on the wrong wall. So if you turn the ladder onto a different wall, and that's what I kind of saw. The other thing is I think you also earn a right to promote what you're doing after you've been in front of people 600 days in a row. You know, I think if they haven't known you, liked you, or trusted you by then, and if they do, then you have the gateway to your growth. And if your growth is based on making more and more people successful, faster, easier, better, and Kelly will tell you, Harvey, we don't say, okay, how are we going to say what we're doing that we're not doing? In most cases, I hate to say it, but we're almost sympathetic. It's if you saw someone breaking their back trying to do something and you had some machinery or equipment that could go boom, boom, bang. Why not? Time is your biggest asset. Another thing is success is within reach if you have the right strategy, the right team, and the right format. And it's not just live streaming. I can tell you, and I'm sure Beverly will agree, we see live streams that are just harsh. They're harsh to watch. They're so not with it, you know? And that's another distinction. How many of us are doing live streams this way with the quality audiences and everything else? So, anyways, back to comments and then back to Beverly.
Mhm. And we'll
Uh,
go to you.
okay, so Harvey says, I I agree, Beverly. Stories are so important. Everyone has a story to tell. And
Yeah.
it's important for people to tell their story and to let people have feedback because, some people are running around with a story that's not true anymore.
Mhm.
That had its day, and you still carry it around. And when someone says that's no big deal, or what are you worried about? All of a sudden, the weight of the world that you carried around. You can't fear what other people fear and figure that out. And it's better to do. Doing gets you out, gets you active, gets you doing something. And you know what? If you're a perfectionist, it gives you things to improve on.
Mhm.
Right? If you said, I just did this and 8 things weren't well, now there's 8 things that are going to get better in time.
Mhm.
Uh, Dennis says, as we get more visual with you Monday through Friday, makes our week strong and not weak. Well, I appreciate that, Dennis. Uh, Dr. New, who's now very verbal and active today, have an amazing Tuesday. Same to you. Uh, Dennis comes back with agree. Be sustainable and you'll help our environment too, like we have done since 1975, about savingheat.com. And anybody should go to aboutsavingheat.com because Dennis is a quality person who will take care of you. And if he doesn't, call me and I'll say that on the show. So you've got reassurance and guarantee. So thank you, Dennis. So back to you, Beverly. It's so
Okay.
cool because what you're into and so many people like you are such quality professionals in how you do what you do. And it's great to take that to a medium, like you say, going from radio to podcasting to
Yeah.
live streaming. That's quite a history behind.
I've done TV too. It's not my favorite. Okay. Um, I love the intimacy of the audience. I love people. I love helping people. So the closer you are to people, that's for me. Okay. And with live streaming, back in the day, pre-pandemic, I was in the office and I was one person at a time, right? As a matter of fact, one of my clients gave me this button. She saves the world one person at a time. And I thought that that was very funny. And online, see, I'm back today. On radio, it was Get a Life with Beverly Glazer. And until Beverly Glazer was the one that didn't have a life because it was on the weekends every single weekend for 5 years. So, what happens there is I did love it, but then you become the personality and yes, people come to me as the personality, and then they would say, "Oh, Bev, you're really different once you're in the office." I said, "Yep, that's when I'm working." Okay. And working is different. However, with when you're doing online, it's a mix. You know, you see me, I'm hoping that I'm not boring you because that's where the personality should come in, because otherwise you're not going to watch for very long. And I'm hoping that I'm giving you value. But and I'm hoping that I'm giving you tips and understanding. And should you have any problem, I'm hoping that you can see that I'm approachable and I will give and share. Should you want to work with me later or whatever, That's up to you. And I don't canvas, I don't call. People come to me and they say, how do I work with you? I mean, I am in, I don't know, the best of both worlds, I guess, right? Because quite frankly, I'm not one of those people, whatever, that stand up as an influencer, come to me, I do this, I do that. No, working with me, I want you to do it. And that's how I sincerely feel about getting out there with live streaming, with any way, any medium. If I have something to give, I will give it. That's my superpower. And what you said there, Dawn, was it doesn't happen right away. You should believe that what you have, and it's all a belief system, that what you have is worthwhile giving, but don't give to get. Just give. When you're giving to get, eh, it's icky. Okay. People see it. And if you're not sincere, please don't. I mean, I've been in like seminars and they weren't called masterminds, but it was really really exclusive postgraduate work in New York with Dr. Albert Ellis when he was ancient back in the day and I was really young. And he was very, very threatening and he was known for that. And he was a master in any psychology 101 book, you'll find him. And I was privileged to be able to be chosen to work with him. And he said something to somebody saying, what? you know, are you a professional? Are you working? And she says, yes, I am. And she went with all her labels and whatever. And he says, well, you're a danger to society and you shouldn't work in this field. And it's like, if somebody said that to me, let alone him, I would crawl under a rock. But she didn't. She just said, well, that's just the way he is, and went on with her life. And this is what I'm saying. She believed in herself. Please don't go to her. I don't even know who she is, and I would never recommend. But the point is, it's about your belief system. And if you have something that you feel strong enough that you want to give, that you want to do, get rid of that icky feeling and say, I can do it if I had the tools. And I can spend the rest of my life trying to figure it out with YouTube videos, or I can find a mentor. I could call people. I could call Kelly, Dawn, myself, anybody that will say, I think you should do this. I think you should go here, because we are givers. I mean, yeah, and get no, it's like, to me, that's extremely offensive, but I believe that you have to be on that page. If you're not on that page, yeah, then you should be spamming people and going for leads and going after people one way or the other. You know what? What I do is not for everybody. And that's something also, there are tools out there that'll get you the leads, get you the people, do what you do, hit 100,000 people, whatever. That is not what we do here with live streaming. That is not about getting as many people. It's about giving, and people who are interested will come. And those are our people. And that's what I think is so wonderful about personal growth. You're learning, which means you're growing, you're educating, you're teaching, you're getting better in whatever you want to do, both personally and professionally. And but you have to be committed. You have to be committed. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well said. And, to add to that, I look at not only gateway to growth, but gateway to elevated growth.
Mhm.
Growth is usually more, bigger, right? And it's that relevancy. The other thing is the world and the universe don't know how you're coming into something. And what it means is if you're coming in with a lot of, I need money, I need this, I need that, whose responsibility is that from the past to pay into the present or the future? I just finished with an Audible that was labeled or titled, What's in it for them? And that was the whole theme of doing live streaming is your
Mhm.
purpose is your audience. And what you realize is the reason why you're not as successful as you may want to be or you feel you should be is two things. Either you are not valuable enough yet and you need to continue to build your value, or you're not known enough, which takes time. But then that's where collaboration comes in,
Yeah.
right? That's where if Beverly learns something and I apply it next week, and it might have taken 6 months before I learned it or never, and then applied it, there is synergies. As you build on certain foundations, they all come together better. And then, we're not even at the level of success. Harvey was mentioning he just picked up 2 sponsors for his show, and now I'm going to learn how sponsorships go by working with Harvey and saying, well, here's what I learned on promotion. And
Mhm.
everybody can take our different race cars and bring them into the garage and tune them up and say, hey, I'll add that sound system or that muffler system or whatever. And we're still got our own race cars, but we're a team.
Mhm.
And we share the mechanics and the tools and everything else. Why? It's always better to be having a safety net. It makes you far more braver on the high wire, knowing that it's a pitfall. It's not the end of the world. It might be embarrassing. And I think people want to have that trust where if I fall backwards, there'll be someone to catch me or someone to notify me or even someone to say, don't worry about it.
Exactly.
It happens. And as long as it doesn't happen the same way twice, you had to learn something from it. And, where's the fire? When you get to wherever you're going, is that where you want to be? Or are you just going to run off to the next place? And if that's the case, you're not where you want to be, and your goal is halfway. I would rather, and that's what I love about these hours, is you can compress what we do in 30 minutes, but it doesn't give us wiggle room.
Right.
It doesn't give us some time to get off of track or to think of something and know that it is entertaining or interesting. There's a point where you like to hear what you have to say. You really do, because you hear it the same time everybody else hears it, right? When it comes out of your mouth, it goes into everybody's ears,
Oh.
and then you never planned it, right? I didn't plan this; it just blurted out,
Yeah.
or because I saw somebody, it brought back a memory, and now I get to memorialize it in front of people. And that's so cool, and everybody gets a piece. Some people go to a buffet just to have the dessert. Some people go just for the appetizers. So it's pick and choose whatever you're in the mood for. And Beverly's right. Be proactive. Ask questions. Reach out to all of us. There's no excuse once we gave you the invitation. You're welcome. And I learned so much from it. So it's not like we're doing you a favor. I love to hear what I could do to improve, how people see me maybe in ways I'm not aware of. So it's like getting in front of a mirror that talks
Mhm.
and sees and remembers. And then that's the start of the reciprocal activity.
Mhm.
You throw it to me, I'll throw it back to you. And as long as you keep throwing it to me, I'll throw it back to you. But when you walk away with the ball or you put it down, well, that's time to look for another person to throw the ball with. And I think if you look at gyms and people are training or anything, everybody's helping each other out. Everybody's making sure everybody's safe. And that makes you want to continue. And the other thing is, you owe it to the people around you to be as successful as you can because they're going to get the benefit and they're going to be proud of you. And there's so many people. Harvey was telling me that, since he's been doing his show and it's a superb show, got great guests and he's great at it, is he happened to go to a physical franchise conference in London. And he said, before I walked very far, 6 people recognized me from my hat. And they didn't even know my name. They say, you're the franchise show. Right.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You just started.
Yeah. And it's like he was just another person
Yeah.
thinking he'd meet somebody and all because you don't know. 80% of the people who are watching this show aren't commenting.
Of course.
And I think, and then 80% of the people from this show going forward naturally wouldn't, or 100% won't be commenting. So you don't know what your ripple effect has been. If you do 600 of these, someone sees it, someone talks to somebody, and pretty soon you're getting very strong top of mind awareness, and you're becoming synonymous with your industry. So pretty soon, Beverly won't be Beverly; she'll be the women's empowerment lady, right? That no one might remember my name, but they'll remember the hat and the show and say, "Oh yeah, he's a live streamer." That's what you want. That's your brand,
Mhm. Exactly.
right? Your name could have been anything, and it doesn't really mean anything except to you and people maybe around you. But it's what you bring to the table. You want to be remembered for what you gave, not what you took,
Yeah.
or how you beat the odds or something like that. If you're not greedy and you don't mind the split, especially if it's a small split and it involves people that means the world to. It's like, yeah, push a few more of those dimes over. I mean, I'm already happy, right? If this is what's going to make you happy, and what you remember is there's going to be another time where there isn't,
Mhm.
right? So how you show up depends on how you'll continue to show up or not. And that keeps everybody a little bit more honest because the group knows about everything, right? It says, well, like everybody gives Leslie credit for promoting their shows every week,
Always.
right? So she's now the show promoter. She found a brand, and it's work. I mean, Harvey does his help the out of work people on Sundays. Doesn't make any money, but and he does it because he enjoys it. He wants to. But he also gets the benefit of saying, hey, he could have done anything this Sunday. Nobody would have taken anything away from him. But it shows you what a good person it is. And a good person is someone that you can qualify and say, whatever happens, nothing bad will happen. Whether anything good happens or whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to take responsibility and accountability for your success. And just find more things that are interesting because I'm going to learn Opus and how to do um, repurposing of videos. And when I did Restream, even up until recently, it's always been a mystery, or StreamYard. And it's like you're dealing with chemicals that if you don't keep it right, something could blow up on you. So 57 minutes. Can you believe it, Beverly?
No, we moved right through that hour. We sure did. But I want people to remember, particularly women, because we're facing the camera. And if you've never done this before, it can be extremely intimidating. And what happens is we can, get all dressed up, look absolutely perfect. Um, there's so much research out there that says that does not sell. Okay. Be yourself. That's what it is. It's not about all the bells and whistles and fancy toys, and you're not supposed to look like So, in other words, you don't have to be in those designer suits. You don't have to be dressed in the nines. If I was doing a TED talk, believe me, yes, I would. Okay. However, this is live and this is raw. So, you have to get rid of that ego and say, this is me, guys. Okay. Not when I wake up in the morning, I don't put on earrings, but you know what I mean. Okay. It does, I don't have to run to the hairdresser. It's like, this is what you get today. Okay. And it's like, you talk to me, this is what you'll always get. And that's the same with Dawn. And that's what live streaming is. That is what being approachable is. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, there's someone else. There's zillions of others that you can find that works for you. But you have to be curious and you have to be committed to yourself. And another thing that I have to leave as a tip, never say to yourself, I don't have time. Anything that you want to do, you will make time. Guarantee. Okay. I do not have the money. Nonsense. Okay. You can find a way. It doesn't matter. I have really bitten the bullet spending so much money that I thought, "Oh, boy." But you know what? I knew and I felt I had to do it, even though my husband said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Well, I'll prove to you," which, was just one step higher. I never looked back. As a matter of fact, challenge me. That's one way to do it. Okay. But the bottom line is if you feel that it's important to you, it's only you. You're the only one that knows. There's no excuse that I have to go to the hairdresser on Tuesday, Monday morning because I'm going to be there. No, 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 no. We don't want that. That doesn't work. What works is to be yourself, be honest, be truthful, speak your voice. And this is the place all on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, it doesn't matter, a group, a Facebook group, whatever it is. I have 5,400 people in a group on Facebook. They're wonderful. They are themselves. Be yourself, and that is your superpower. Don't judge yourself. Never, never, never judge yourself. And if you want it, do it, reach out, and give back. That, for me, I think would be the biggest tip to anybody that wants to do this, anyone that wants to be successful in business, in life. Give without expecting anything in return. Do not take notes. And so that, Dawn, is my final message.
Well, you saved the best for last, and I hope everybody takes it to heart because it can be transformational, life changing. And if not now, when? If not us, who? And you can always go back to yesterday, tomorrow,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, anytime.
You can keep doing what you're doing, take one day off and do something new, different, exciting. Could you wear the same clothes every day, eat the same food every day when there's so many options and people are so much more diversified than just a cantaloupe or something, right? Is you get what you ask for and you also get what you give. And if you know how to ask and you know what to ask and you know how to support somebody to justify it. A yes is just around the corner if there's a good reason, right? If you say, "Can I have $10?" Somebody said, "What do you need it for?" "Well, I got to feed my family." "Well, here's $10, right? If you say, "What do I need it for?" "I don't know. I'll figure it out." "Well, come back when and that's on you. So I think the key is you know, you need to put yourself first before you can serve others. But when you serve others, you have to put yourself behind them. So it starts with you, moves to them, and maybe comes back to you. And if it doesn't, you're with the wrong them again.
Yeah.
You're giving the wrong message again. So it's just telling you what you need to know. It's not what you want to know. But I think that's the beauty of every day having another thing to learn and another person to reach out and ask. That's what you're missing is why figure out yourself? How much can you figure out? And maybe someone knows it or maybe someone doesn't. But anyways, curiosity
Mhm.
is key. And if you're always wondering what's around the corner, over the bend, you're in a right game. So, anyways, you wouldn't be here if there wasn't a reason to keep coming back and learning, growing, sharing. But I really promote everybody to get to a bigger stage with a stronger reach and let your voice be heard. And it's a beautiful voice when it has that opportunity. So, with that, go on, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, we'll have Carl Dakin with Successful Funding. He'll also be with Russ Hedge, who I mentioned earlier. So please, if you have an opportunity, in the meantime, Harvey's on right now, pretty soon, I think in 10:15 or whatever it is. And then Kelly's an hour later. So thank you, Beverly. As always, thank you, audience.